It has been a long journey. I went through every single arc of the series, and now it's time for my final review of the Black Clover anime. What do I really think of this show? Here's how this gonna work. I'm dividing this video into two parts. I'm looking at the series from two different point of views, subjectively and objectively. I'm going to say what is my personal take on the show and why I love it or hate it. Then I will be discussing what makes this show good or bad in the eyes of the public. Black Clover anime is coming to an end, so this is a great time to give a complete review of the entire show. Before we start, thank you guys so much for your support. As always, let's get this video to 10 likes and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more awesome content. And at the end of this video, I have an announcement, so keep watching until the end. Without further ado, this is the absolute honest truth of the Black Clover series. Now first, let's start with the subjective part. What do I personally think about this show? Everybody has his personal reasons to why they love or hate any show, whether it's for action, thriller, story, complicated plot, or other twisted reasons. We're not judging anyone here. For me, when I'm watching any series, movie, or anything else like that, I look for two things: characters and entertainment. Let's see how Black Clover hold for these measures. Let's start with the characters. For me, Black Clover had a great roster of characters. I mean, there are so many people to love. Asta, Yuno, Noel, Yami, Julius, and even side characters like Vanessa, Fenrir, Locke, and to be honest, every member of the Black Bull squad. Every character seemed interesting in his own way, and everyone has his unique and different personality that is enough for them to stand out from the crowd. And for me, that is extremely important. Not a single character is annoying when they show up on screen. I didn't feel the need to punch the TV anytime during the runtime of the show, with a few exceptions. Even characters that were intentionally annoying led to some interesting plot lines and hurdles for our main cast to overcome. To further develop in the story, the cast feels warm and welcoming for the viewers to join their journey. And the dynamic and chemistry between the characters is a joy to watch. The heartwarming moments, the relationships, the teamwork, and the friendships. It feels right. It feels wholesome. Not for everyone though. It is way more than good enough for anyone to like those people. Now, what about the most important one of the cast, the main character, the protagonist of the show? Let's talk about Asta for a moment. To be honest, when I first started watching the anime, I wasn't the biggest fan of Asta. He was generic, loud and obnoxious, run-of-the-mill shonen protagonist. However, after a while watching the series, I start to like him more and more. And to be honest, this goes for the entire cast. I loved everybody more as the series went on. And that's a good thing. That means the writer is doing a good job with the character's development. Now, back to Asta. As I said before, I didn't like him that much at the beginning, but the way he never gives up, learn from his mistakes, being badass and caring for the people around him, made him one of my favorite characters. Even his screaming, I start to find it funny and charming. Great selection of characters is solely enough for me to like a show. Even if the plot or the story itself it's not that interesting, I mean, that's one of the main reasons that I liked Fairy Tail. Despite all the hate that it gets, it has an amazing cast of characters. Now, what about entertainment? Was I having a good time watching Black Clover? And to that I say, tuck yeah. From its breathtaking battles to its slice of life episodes, I enjoy watching this show. Let's talk about the fights. Black Clover fights have a unique element that make them stand out from other shonen battles. And that element is teamwork. Almost every single character fight in the anime requires 2 or 3 characters fighting together. And it's done on a brilliant way. The fight at the Sea Temple is one of the greatest examples of teamwork, making 2 mages with niche abilities fighting in the front line. It was so satisfying to see. The bottom line is, I love Black Clover. I had a blast watching the show. I love the characters, I love the fights, and the whole vibe of the anime. Maybe because I'm a sucker for high-octane battle shonen takery, but that's just me and my own personal opinion. Now let's put our emotion on the side. Forget how many times someone touched himself watching his favorite waifu and talk about Black Clover from an objective standpoint. To be clear, this is not what I personally think about the show. It's an outside view without being biased, because I love this anime. Number 1. Black Clover is not that easy to get into because it had a rocky start due to production issues. What do I mean by this? Look, I'm really patient when I'm watching an anime. However, some people drop a series from watching just 1 or 2 episodes. Not to mention Asta's voice was extremely annoying to the point that you feel your head is exploding. It took a while for this anime to become as good as it is right now. The animation was subpar and the episode felt like it's falling apart. Having a bad start in modern anime world is a little doom. Everyone nowadays has the attention span of 3 seconds. And if you don't believe me, watch early reviews of the internet when the anime started airing at 2017. Everybody was talking about how bad Black Clover was. But thankfully, it managed to bring itself back from the depths of the anime's graveyard. The animation got much better, the pacing of the story improved tremendously as Asta stopped screaming all the time, and his character improved significantly throughout the show. Number 2. It checks a lot of the cliché boxes. Underdog protagonist, check. Demon powers, check. The main character want to be on the top, check. Rival for the protagonist, check. Group of waifus, check. Don't forget tsunderes, check. Falling in the water, check. And many others. However, this is not necessarily a negative thing, as Black Clover put enough twist on those aspects and made them interesting for the audience to watch, while keeping its identity that defines it between other shonens. Despite the popular beliefs, generic and cliché is not always a bad thing. As long as it's done right, people love familiarity. That's how human nature works. If someone is a fan of basketball, he's gonna keep watching even though it's the same thing over and over and over again. The only difference is who is involved in each match. Number 3. The way Black Clover can handle so many characters at the same time. I said it before and I say it now. Black Clover does a really good job juggling so many characters at the same time. A lot better than other shows. And it handles war arcs in a wonderful way. At the Spade Kingdom arc, the arc we're in right now, I honestly felt invested in every single fight that is happening on screen. Asta versus Dante, Noelle versus Veronica, Yuno versus Xenon. Even the side fight with Locke and others felt interesting and intense. There is death in the show. However, none of the characters we know died despite being in a pretty bad shape. And to be fair, that takes away some of the tension of the story, but not to the degree of ruining it. It's fine though, not every show has to be dark and grim. Number 4. The teamwork is fantastic. As I said in my subjective review, Black Clover has one of the best fight synergies in anime. It utilizes side characters pretty well. The fight with Vero, the fight with Dorothy, Yami and Asta versus Dante, Noelle, Mimosa, Lolobechka and Sekirei versus Veronica, and many others. Everyone of the cast feels useful in his own way, not sitting around doing nothing and just being cheerleaders for the main characters to be the main bad guy. I'm talking about you, Piccolo and Gohan. What happened to you guys? Used to be pretty cool, man. But that's a topic for another day. Also, the power system is pretty solid, not to the level of Hunter x Hunter, but it's good enough to keep things consistent and to make fights more interesting to watch. Number 5. The villains and the antagonists. The villain and the antagonists plays as much as an important role as the protagonist in any story. Sometimes they can even exceed him. Now, what about the antagonists and villains in Black Clover? To be honest, they are not astounding, but they are not bad either. The word I'm looking for here is mediocre. However, they do a good enough job raising up the tension and moving the story forward. And for an opposite force to the protagonist, that's more than enough. Number 6. The female characters. The female characters in the show are awesome. How am I gonna put this in perspective? The way female characters portrayed in shonen anime are, what's that word I'm looking for? They are useless. Either just there for the fan service or overpowered for no fucking reason whatsoever without any interesting personality, or this is the best one, doing absolutely nothing. However, not in Black Clover. And to be frank, also in Fairy Tail. But let's just focus on Black Clover for now. Noelle, Vanessa, Mary Leona, Mimosa, and even villains like Veronica are all amazing characters with great personalities and an understandable motivation and a super swag power with a proper build-up and a proper character development. Black Clover managed to build a wonderful cast of female characters. Final thoughts. Does Black Clover hold up to the shonen giants of the past? I will say absolutely yes. Is it a perfect show? No, but I love it despite all of its flaws. It really did remind me of the days of my childhood and the animes I used to watch back then. Let me know what do you think in the comment section. And oh yeah, the announcement. I decided to review Jujutsu Kaisen. After that, the next anime I'm going to cover is gonna be your guys' choice. Vote in the comments below. Thank you guys so much for watching.